There are photographs that can freeze time and others that reveal its relentless passage. But only one photographer managed to do something truly extraordinary, capturing the essence of time itself on the faces of four sisters over 4 decades. This story is so powerful that those who see the final image cannot hold back their tears. It all began in 1975 when a talented photographer, Nicholas Nixon, visited the parents of his wife, Bibi, in Massachusetts. It was an unusually warm day, and in the garden, 4 young sisters, Heather, Mimi, Bibi, and Lori, were engaged in a lively conversation, their laughter filling the air. At one point, Nicholas noticed how the sunlight illuminated their faces, how natural their poses were, and how sincere their smiles seemed. "Can I take a photo of you?" he asked, unaware that those simple words would spark one of the most powerful and emotional photography projects in history. A project that would not only change their lives, but also transform the way we understand the beauty of time itself. The sisters exchanged hesitant glances. Bebe was already used to her husband's camera, but the others felt uneasy. Their body language reflected their uncertainty. Crossed arms, slightly furrowed brows, and expressions of mild apprehension. Back in 1975, digital cameras did not exist, so they couldn't instantly see the results. What if the picture turns out bad? That thought was visible on their faces. Nicholas was using a large format 8x10 camera, an enormous device that required skill and patience. He had chosen it deliberately, as its high resolution would allow him to capture even the smallest details, every line on their faces, every glimmer in their eyes. Later, this technical choice would become one of the defining aspects of the project, enabling viewers to examine the sisters' faces closely and notice even the subtlest changes over the years. When the first photograph was developed, Nicholas was astonished. There was something more in this simple black and white image than just a portrait of 4 sisters. It encapsulated the essence of youth, pure, sincere, filled with hope and expectations. 4 young women standing on the threshold of their lives, unaware of the paths that awaited them. A year later, to celebrate the graduation of one of the sisters, Nicholas suggested taking another photo. "Stand just like before," he asked, guiding each sister into her previous position. When he compared the 2 images, he was struck by the barely perceptible differences: slightly altered postures, subtle changes in facial expressions, minor shifts in their eyes. Then an idea struck him. What if we take a photo like this every year? The sisters agreed, thinking it would last for a year or 2, maybe 5 at most. None of them could have imagined that this experiment would continue for 4 decades and become one of the most significant documentary photography projects in history. The rules were simple: 1 photograph every year, always in the same order: Heather, Mimi, Baby, Lori, always in black and white, always using the 8x10 camera, always with natural light, no makeup, no special preparations, just them as they were. Each photo session became a special ritual. Sometimes they had to wait for hours until the lighting was perfect, but those hours were never wasted. They became precious moments of connection, where the sisters could talk, share news, and laugh about old memories. As the years passed, choosing the final image became more meaningful. In the early years, the sisters would quickly browse through a few shots and select the best one, but over time, the process turned into a serious discussion. They spent hours examining each frame, paying attention to the smallest details: how the light fell, how the folds of their clothing appeared, what emotions were reflected in their eyes. Over those 40 years, their lives changed in countless ways. There were weddings and divorces, births of children and losses of loved ones, illnesses and recoveries. But the truly extraordinary thing was that not once, never, did they miss their annual photo session. Even when one of them was seriously ill, she found the strength to stand beside her sisters in front of the camera. One of the most fascinating aspects of the project was observing how their appearances changed over time. From the trendy outfits of the 1970s, they gradually transitioned to more classic and subdued styles. Their hairstyles evolved with the times, from youthful experiments with length and curls to the arrival of the first gray hairs, which none of them tried to hide. Those silver streaks became a crown, a symbol of the years they had lived and the wisdom they had gained. But the most profound changes appeared in their expressions and body language. In the earliest photos, each sister seemed to exist in her own space. Even while standing together, they appeared like separate islands, each lost in her own world. Perhaps this reflected their youthful independence, their desire to build their own lives. Yet as the years passed, something subtle changed. Their bodies leaned toward each other. Their hands naturally rested on one another's shoulders. Their gazes grew softer, more trusting. Instead of drifting apart, time had drawn them closer together. This transformation was especially striking in Mimi, the second sister from the left. In the first photos, she appeared wrapped in an armor of caution. Her gaze was intense, her lips pressed tightly together, her posture tense. Even when she placed her arm around a sister's shoulder, her gesture seemed restrained, as if she were protecting a part of herself from the camera, from the world, perhaps even from the people closest to her. But time does incredible things. With each new photograph, Mimi's face seemed to soften. Wrinkles appeared, not just from age, but from frequent smiles. In the final year, she was almost unrecognizable. Her eyes radiated such warmth and wisdom that it was impossible not to be moved to tears. As the years passed, the project gained worldwide recognition. The photographs were exhibited in the most prestigious galleries, from the Museum of Modern Art in New York to the Louvre in Paris. Yet, for the sisters, it was never about art for art's sake. This was their personal story, one they shared with the world without ever intending to. The uniqueness of the project also lies in how it portrays the process of aging in women. In a world obsessed with eternal youth, where women over 40 often become invisible to society, where they are made to feel ashamed of their age, the Brown sisters showed a different path. They demonstrated that age is not something to hide, but something to embrace, something to be proud of. Over the years, photography technology has advanced dramatically. Digital cameras, Photoshop, and filters capable of erasing any sign of aging. But Nicholas has remained loyal to his old 8x10 camera and black and white film. Because for him, it was never about technology. It was about truth, the honesty of the moment, the authenticity of time, and the depth of human connection. Curiously, throughout the entire project, the sisters never publicly shared details of their personal lives. We do not know their love stories, their professional successes and failures, their personal triumphs and tragedies. But all of it can be read in their eyes, in the way they stand together, in the silent and powerful language of time itself.